I had a crazy idea I posted on Twitter. What if Marvel got the Wachowskis to do Inhumans?
I don't know how crazy that is. That might actually be kind of cool.
I think that what would work about that for them is that it would have that, Dad would
that
ultimately...
people will go to see it.
Well, okay, that's one thing. But creatively, what would work for it is that's probably they would have somebody else write it, which I have advocated for, that they need someone else to write their scripts. And that be like Kevin Feige, Dad, would be like, no, children, we're going to pull you back on this.
I really hope he's that patronizing, too.
Children,
sit down and let me
sit
tell you how
down,
to make a
children.
movie.
That's an interesting idea to me, but I don't think it'll happen basically because of how they work. I think they don't. Similar to like Edgar Wright, like I think Edgar Wright works in a certain way, and you try to insert him into the Marvel system, it just didn't happen,
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's to blame for that. It's just you have different styles and you can't approach it that way.
You know what's funny? One thing we forgot. I'm sorry that we forgot to mention last week. I think we did when we were talking about Jupiter Ascending. Is that Terry Gilliam has a cameo?
Oh, I know.
There's a whole Brazil sequence. Yeah, it's so funny.
And it's weird, but great.
It's like a totally different movie, but I'm like, well, maybe you should have made that movie.
Yeah, make the Brazil movie, exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird because I don't think they would do it because they're like, no, we have to have our unique voices. But I think it's actually, it's the best thing for them, not necessarily for Marvel. But Marvel doesn't actually go for, either in their casting or their directorial choices, they generally aren't going to be like, yeah, we're going to get these people that we have to like really cater to and pay these crazy fees to and all this other stuff. They get people that are really good that can shoot for them.
They go low key and they go lower profile, I think, for most of the time but a lot of those guys develop into like huge, huge people.
I think the one thing Marvel isn't afraid of is hiring somebody who's got a bad commercial track record.
That's true.
Like Favreau was coming off of Zathura when he did Iron Man.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, I've said this a bunch of times, but he was one more flop away from being on an NCIS spinoff.
Yeah.
Downey, unemployable.
Which would have been very successful, by the way.
Who knows? It worked for Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah.
But, and then, Downey obviously was unemployable. Mm-hmm. The Russo brothers just worked in TV. So I feel like it's because the Wachowskis have this huge baggage of having flops, I don't think that would stop them. Joss Whedon was a TV powerhouse, but his movies didn't make money. Serenity was a flop.
He only made the one. I think he had only made Serenity, right? Yeah. And it didn't make a ton of money. It was really good, though. But it didn't make a ton of money. I think they're willing to capitalize on talent, but
they know just who's the right person for that job.
Yeah, but that particular pair would need, I think, a lot of assistance, frankly, to eke out a really workable film. And they would have to be willing to put their egos aside. I'm not saying they seem like lovely people, but they would have to be willing to really confess to themselves, we actually need this. We really need somebody to help us shape things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're there yet, but they're really phenomenally talented people in the ways that they're talented.
Or what's maybe more likely, actually, is that they would do one of the DC movies because they are already sort of like have a history with Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers.
Is Warner Brothers going to risk a DC movie on them at this point?
Well, no, I don't know, but I'm saying like it might be more likely than them going over to Marvel because they have that working relationship already with Warner Brothers.
But there's nobody in DC that's like you guys weigh in on this, that I see that is in that Kevin Feige role of really having control of the whole thing.
It's Snyder at this point.
It's Snyder, right? Yeah. And are you going to put Snyder in charge of the Wachowskis? I would love to see it because I think it would be a full-on acid trip potentially to have Snyder guiding the Wachowskis, but
who would actually finish a sentence? I have to wonder.